Hey guys, and down here, this is going to be my chapter review to My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia 208. The fourth set concludes. Now, I thought this was a fire chapter. Well done, Horikoshi. It showed us exactly how much Bakugo has grown, coming back to the point I made about his mentality last chapter. If you haven't seen that review, go check it out and you'll be able to see what I was saying. But we start where we left off in last chapter. Kamakiri is getting hit by Bakugo with Tokage in shock at how Bakugo is, how he even considered protecting someone like Jiro. However, Kamakiri was quick enough to put up his guard so he doesn't actually get wrecked by Bakugo, and he proceeds to retreat alongside the rest of his team because they realize, shit, Bakugo is like, he's up and he's ready and he's going to kick the shit out of us. So they're not even willing to tag team or like team up on Bakugo. If Bakugo hasn't made a mistake and is not separate from his team, they're not going to fight him because it's just too much of a hassle. Well, it's not too much of a hassle. They'd lose if they fought Bakugo near to his team. They'd lose. So that's why they decided to retreat. And I loved how Monoma goes ape shit, having witnessed Bakugo's changing character. He's like, why would this guy protect Jiro? Like, that's not something he would ever do before. So Jiro thanks Bakugo. He tells her to shut up. I thought that's pretty funny. But he also tells him, he also proceeds to tell his team that they're going to force a perfect victory against this class, against Class B, proving that he can do this on his way to becoming the strongest hero, the strongest #1 hero ever. So this is what I loved about this chapter, and this small part I felt here. When he's telling his team we're going to get a perfect victory, I feel that shows everything you need to know about how Bakugo has changed this chapter. There's a little bit towards the end where there's more of a team moment, but this is all I felt you needed, because Bakugo always, you see here that Bakugo always considers, we've known from before, Bakugo always considered his teammates as a hindrance, and he would try to solo tasks even if they were tasks that needed to be done as a team and could only be done effectively as a team. But here he's telling his team that he wants to and will lead them. So usually that can either be met one of two ways. Well, it could be met a multitude of ways, but if we're going for yes, no, it can either be, yeah, you can lead and we're good with that, or it can be no, and there's going to be some friction there. And the important thing here is the team's reaction to Bakugo. So it's not only showing Bakugo has some growth, but it shows the team has some growth in terms of Sato, Sero, and Jiro. They've realized what type of character, what type of person Bakugo is, and where he can perform most effectively, which is that leadership position, that lead the charge, lead the creative thinking and strategic thinking. And that's where he excels. So the team react in a positive way. They're fine with Bakugo leading in this situation. They encourage it, something which drastically I felt improved the cohesion of the group in comparison to if they had issues with him. And so it just them acknowledging the fact that, yeah, you can be the leader and we'll follow you up. So they're basically telling him, we'll back you, you go do your thing. And that's what's given them victory this chapter. So we see Tokage's plan, which is retreat, repeat the ambush, try to force Bakugo into making a mistake and kind of essentially separating him from his team being unable to respond to his mistakes and not being quick enough to kind of adjust to those mistakes, and therefore Team A collapses. So that's what she was going for. But it's here that Bakugo sees Bondo running in the distance, and he's like, alright, I'm going to go get this guy. So he explodes straight towards him, and obviously we have Tokage just chilling. She's foreseen this, and she'd planned to have Awase cover Bondo's back. So this part was cool. Awase traps Bakugo against some pillars with his quirk. excuse me. And so he traps Bakugo against some steel pillars, I think, with his quirk, which seems to allow him to weld things together. I mean, like, he's pulling out these what look to be some sort of metallic cylinders, and he's just fusing them together. And he mentions like one of his moves is called something weldcraft. So I assume he can just weld things together, in particular some form of metal, some sort of steel or something like that. So Bakugo is momentarily trapped, but is very quickly freed by Sato, who is following up on Bakugo very closely, coming back to that point of, we'll back you and we're gonna be right up your ass, we're gonna be following you like really, really closely, you go do your thing. So Bakugo is free, and then we have Awase kind of getting ready for a heavy-duty encounter. And he makes mention of, shit, these guys are quite quick. Like, I was hoping that would delay them for a little bit longer, but he realizes that shit, this is going to be a heavy duty encounter. So Awase pulls a steel plate over his face, and Bakugo comes in screaming like a bullet. However, Bakugo suddenly pulls up in midair, and he just blasts himself a little bit higher. And behind him are Zero and Jiro. Zero having lifted Jiro into the air by shooting some of his tape around a pipe and then just pulling himself up. And this surprises Awase. It takes him back, and it leaves him open to a sound-based attack from Jiro. And I think she completely stuns him, and he just goes a little bit apeshit and a little bit crazy, allowing Bakugo to go on ahead and attack with incredible pace. So they've taken out Awase. They've taken out the cover man, essentially, the guy who was supposed to allow his team time to retreat. And this is where Tokage's plan starts to fall apart. It's like you're up shit creek without a paddle now. So I really, really enjoyed how we got a completion of Bakugo's sentence from earlier. And earlier he says, and I didn't mention it on purpose, earlier he says, if you're in trouble, I think he says this in regards to Jiro right after having saved it. He says, if you're in trouble, I'll save you. And he's just directing this at his team. But then he finishes that by saying, when I'm in trouble, you dumb shits can save me. So I thought that was pretty funny. It's still Bakugo. He's not mellowed up, but this is very key for Bakugo's growth, in my opinion. Accepting that he can't necessarily do everything by himself, and that his team are assets to his abilities, and they can amplify his abilities. They're not hindrances or dead weight like Aoyama and Hagakure. Hey, I'm gonna get roasted for that. Actually, I doubt you guys would roast me for that. They are dead weights. Hagakure, I mean, like, meh. Aoyama, like they're both like out of Class A. They're probably the worst. Out of the whole of UA, they're probably the worst. I mean, normal civilians could probably take these two out. So it's also a huge swallowing of pride moment I felt for Bakugo, with him accepting that he will and does need help in order to succeed, which is key for a number one hero. I feel. I mean, like All Might, if he needed help, he would take it. That's not something that Bakugo's generally been too fond of, but he's accepting it here, and I really like that. So with Bondo's back uncovered, Tokage desperately tries to use her body parts to kind of stop Bakugo, to distract him from wrecking her teammate, all in vain. Bondo just gets demolished, and both Awase and Bondo are instantly restrained by Bakugo's teammates, so by Jiro, Sato, and Zero. Once restrained, they continue to go and back up Bakugo. Monoma is stricken by Bakugo's acceptance of his team, something he hasn't really seen in him before, something that he thought even that Bakugo was capable of, and something Tokage is visibly and mentally shaken by. She didn't expect the team to follow up on Bakugo's movement so efficiently, and she thought he would selfishly charge in without considering his teammates' movements, or without allowing them time to follow up or provide support for his movements. But the Class A team were well aware of what needed to be done. This is disregarding Bakugo. The rest of his team, so Zero, Sato, and Jiro, they were well aware of what they had to do this time around. Bakugo will do the heavy lifting and all of the crazy shit that he normally does, but we're going to provide the best freaking support we can. We're going to be constantly like up against his ass. We're going to be like literally, we're just going to constantly be behind him and providing the support he needs, allowing him to improvise better. And this is actually the key point here, is this actually allows Bakugo to support his team in turn, resulting in the fantastic cohesion we saw this chapter. So it wasn't just, we're going to be the best freaking supports for Bakugo. Because of how close they were to him and how much support they were providing him with, he allowed them to shine as heroes on their own by providing them with support, which I thought was key. So Zero then breaks down Tokage's quirk for us, while Bakugo absolutely ends Kamakiri's career by catapulting him into a wall. Zero tells us that eventually the amputated parts of Tokage's body lose the energy to move, they freeze up, and then they must return to Tokage's body to kind of reset. So we then see Tokage regrouping her body parts. Only one of them has a grenade attached to it via Zero's tape, so a little gift from Bakugo before the barrage took place, and a little gift from Zero as well. So this reveals her position, and we see Bakugo absolutely bombing it towards her from a distance, and she's completely unaware. She's blindsided by this, like no left tackle at all. So instead of spearing straight into her, which I thought he would do, like he would do some sort of freaking like some Goku going through Piccolo kind of thing, and like exploding in her face or anything like that, Bakugo just lets off kind of like this point blank stun kind of concussion grenade kind of thing in her face. And he doesn't have like a physical grenade, he just creates one out of his attack, and he just completely knocks out Tokage. She's out cold. With that, Bakugo reaffirms his goal to become the #1 hero and to become a better hero than All Might was. And with that, the chapter ends. I thought it was an awesome chapter. Well done to Horikoshi. Very well kind of condensed. I think it was only like 15 pages or something like that, but it was a very well done chapter. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and we got to see a lot of growth from not just Bakugo, but people like Jiro, who like I never really rated, but seeing her cohesion in this team in particular, really well done. Sero as well, and what's his name, Sugar Boy, Sato. All of that was really good. So that's it for this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in a bit.